Welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast with Michelle Chalfant, a place to delve into who we are, how we got that way, and explore what it takes to be a healthy grown-up. With an extensive toolbox and guests with varied expertise, Michelle will lead us on a journey to learn what it's like to live authentically and to love ourselves just the way we are. And now, here's Michelle.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday, or whatever day that you're listening to this, but it does come out on Thursday. So I hope you're having a wonderful day, whatever day it is. I'm having a wonderful day. I'm still dreaming about my trip to New York City. I had such a wonderful time. If you saw that I had dropped my son off in New York for his summer internship, and it was supposed to be 3 days there, but Sunday when we were leaving for the airport, we got a text that said that our flight was canceled, so we had to spend another day. And I don't know if you saw in my Instagram story, I posted the sunrise at the airport Monday morning. We had to leave for the airport at I think it was 4 something to get to the airport for our extremely early morning flight. But gosh, it's such a wonderful time. And, with my younger son graduating, we're sitting here going, where do we want to live? And thinking maybe, gosh, I said, even part-time in New York. I grew up in Rochester, New York, and all that snow up there. I don't know if I can handle that in the winter, but maybe the summer. Summer, spring, and fall would be gorgeous. So I don't know. I might be moving back to the Northeast. You never know. Anyway, I've got a show today that was so moving for me to spend time with this girl. Her name is Suzy. And actually, she found me, or I found her on Instagram. She is somebody that just private messaged me and let me know how much she loves the adult chair and how much it changed her life, and told me a little bit about her story. And her story really caught my attention and moved me. And I thought, and I've said this to other people that have written into me on Instagram, I thought, or I'll say, it really does move me to tears to know that in some way the adult chair is helping. And she said the adult chair really, really helped her make sense of her life and has just turned her life around in many ways. So her story is so unbelievable, it needs to be a movie. This girl and I had a conversation about her life, and she was raised in a really, really large family with, of course, lots of enmeshment and emotional entanglement and things like that, but got married at a very, very young age to an abusive husband. And I mean abusive. Tried to kill her. And I'm not going to give too much away because her story is incredible. You have to listen to it. But sexual abuse, whatever you can imagine, this girl has experienced, and she has turned it around. And I've gotten so many emails over the years of people that say, thank you for having people like this on. And so when I feel moved, this is the kind of story and person that I like to have on the show, just to share their story and help inspire all of us, really. She inspired me so many times. I was holding back tears the entire interview because I just couldn't believe it. I mean, it's just crazy, but she's an incredible girl, and I was so honored to have her on the show, and I think you're going to love it. And then again, how she's using the adult chair to really change her life right now. So anyway, we're going to get to her in one moment. But first, I need to tell you about our sponsor today, and that is Ned. I love this company. They produce a full spectrum hemp oil product that contains CBD, and it's extracted from the finest organic hemp plants. And they only source their products from local farms and communities. So from seed to bottle, all of Ned's products are energetically infused with love, gratitude, and positive vibrations. So cannabinoids, or CBD, they have a wide range of benefits and regulate nearly every biological system in the human body. And some of them that are best known are, of course, I've mentioned this before, as a sleep aid. So for insomnia, this has turned so many people around using CBD oil. I've used it. I know, again, my family uses it. We have a lot of people that use this for sleep, and man, it really works. Also, it's great for as an anti-inflammatory agent. It's just phenomenal for our muscles. My son played intense soccer at the end of this year, and it was a blessing for him because he was in pain during the end of the year, and this was helpful for him. It also treats anxiety and PTSD and depression, and also chronic conditions like epilepsy, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's. So many great uses for this product. And again, people typically ask me, does it get you high? Isn't it the same thing as pot? It is not. There's only a minuscule amount of THC that is allowed by law, and it's 0.3%. And that is what gets people high. So no, it will not get you high. So I just want to thank Ned for supporting our show. And you can get 15% off today with free shipping by going to helloned.com/adult. And then that promo code again is adult. So HelloNed, HELLONED.com/adult. And again, that promo code is adult. So here we go. Here we go with Suzy's story, and I hope you all like it. I look forward to hearing your comments. Please let me know how you like this show. I do read your comments all over social media, so come hit me up. I'm on Instagram at michelle.chalfant, CHALFANT, and of course, all over Facebook, LinkedIn, and even Pinterest. So come find me. I love interacting with you guys. But here we go with Suzy. Enjoy the show. Okay, here we go. Suzy, thank you so much for being on the Adult Chair podcast. I am so thrilled to have you based on some of what you've told me about your story. So thank you today for being on the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure just being here talking to you. This is amazing.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I am so grateful for you just being willing to do this. I know that putting our story out into the world can be scary, but you are, I know, an avid listener of the show. So
yes, I am.
You know the importance of putting our story out there, because it not only transforms us to put our story out into the world, but I know that other people are going to resonate with different parts of your story, if not the whole story, and you're going to help transform others. So that's what I'm all about, and you are as well. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about really how you found your true self, how you transformed your life, your life journey is just an incredible one to listen to. So I think what I'd like to do is just start out, go ahead and tell us about your story and how you really were able to help find your true self. After all of these years, it sort of has started to come together for you. So why don't you start at the beginning? Tell us a little bit about even how you grew up, etc. What were your parents like? Tell us about a little bit of your background.
So I'm Hispanic, and we come from a really strong, united type of family, and we spent a lot of time together. One thing is, even we were really close, there always was that, you can sense you weren't really welcome, I guess. There was always little comments being said. I remember being, I don't know, I was 5 years old, and then there was always comments about my mom. Oh, she thinks she's so much better, or I don't know why she's here. She doesn't belong with my dad because my dad was too much for her. Or I just felt like there was a lot of tension there. And I almost felt like I had to protect my mom. I had to be there with her to comfort her through all of it.
Mm-hmm. And so are you saying, I just want to clarify, I don't mean to stop you. And so you're saying you had your family, you're saying your extended family was saying this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
So my dad.
So it was your mom, your dad, you, and did you have siblings?
I had siblings, and then my dad came from a family of 11.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So, and it was every other day type where we were all together and they would have dinner together. So it was like continuous, like we were always seeing each other. And I always had walked into a conversation where they're talking about my mom or whatnot. And then my dad, he had a military background. He was in the Army, and a lot of things weren't talked about. He was very strict. And if I ever had a question, he'd just kind of shut it down. Like, oh, we're not talking about that right now. Or you don't need to be talking about that. You're too young. And it was just simple little things, but it was always like, you shouldn't be talking about that. You're not an adult. Don't be listening to the conversation. You're not an adult. So yeah, I feel like that kind of pushed me into wanting to get out of the house and start my own life. So that's what caused me to get married at the age of 14.
Wow. So
yeah.
I was going to ask you it sounds like enmeshment, would you say, in your family. And I heard you say taking care of your mom. So I'm wondering about codependency. That I relate to that. If you know anything about my story, that's how I felt.
Right.
All this talking with all these family members and taking care of mom. So I really get that. But so then you got married at 14.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So,
wow.
That was kind of strange. Obviously, I wasn't thinking straight. I met this guy and he just started kind of coming around more and more. He was a 19-year-old. And I would kind of push him away like, hey, you're too much in my space. I need some space. But then I'd walk home from school and then all of a sudden I'd see this guy driving by. And then he's like, hey, what are you up to? So he just started coming around more. And I just kind of felt bad because I didn't know how to say, you're taking up too much of my time. I just felt bad for him.
Yeah.
And he just asked me, hey, do you want to be my girlfriend? And I'm like, sure, I don't want to break your heart, but sure. And then it kind of just happened. It just kept going after that. And I moved in with him. We were sitting down and we were doing laundry. And then I joked about something. And he grabbed my hand. And just the way he grabbed it, it was kind of like, don't ever joke around like that ever again. And I was just like, okay, well, I don't know. Like, it was just different to me. Like, what's going on here?
Right.
But I thought maybe I was like, oh, I shouldn't have joked around like that. It's okay. I won't do it again. But then it just started progressing after that. It just got worse and worse to the point where then it started to be physical. So.
Wow. And you're now how old? You're 14 when all this is starting?
Yes, I was 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long, so it turned into a physically abusive, obviously emotional, mental abuse, but also physically abusive relationship. How long were you married to him?
For 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
I was married for 10 years. And a lot of the time I knew that I wanted to leave, but I was afraid to leave because he would threaten me with, if you try to leave, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to kill the kids. Like nobody's going to end up with you guys.
How many kids did you have at that point?
I had 4.
Wow.
So I had my 3 eldest girls and my son. And so then I started working. I was like, maybe if I work and I just get out, maybe that'll be enough of a break to where I can just feel like I'm not so trapped. So I started working and I met which is my husband now. And we were just good friends and we had our coworkers there and I would ask them, hey, like, what should I do to help my relationship, I never told them there was abuse.
Right.
So they just suggested like, oh, go out and hang out more, or take them to church, maybe some good stuff, get, positive feedback from other people, and maybe he'll start to learn from that. And I just did that for a while, but of course nothing was going to change because he was abusive.
I was just going to say, it's far beyond taking him to church or taking him out for date night. Like, it sounds like it had
Right.
really abusive, and you needed to get out of that marriage, obviously.
Right. And I finally went to my mom and I said, hey, I'm really ready to move on. And she turns around and looks at me and says, well, that's your choice. You need to make that decision. And I just kind of felt alone after that. And I'm like, if I'm going to get out, it's going to be because I'm making that choice. Nobody's going to help me out. I'm going to do it by myself.
Wow.
And so I did. I decided to leave. And the day I decided to leave, he was going to kill me. And that was his plan. And he attempted it. And luckily, the way things played out, it was not my time.
So wait a minute. You told him you were going to leave? You didn't just leave. So you said to him, I'm going to leave with the kids.
Yes, I told him I was going to leave, and he said, we could work this out or whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm done. You're just too much. You're too abusive. You don't want to get help. And he tried to stab me. And
oh my gosh.
So we don't understand how it happened, but when he tried to stab me, the knife actually broke.
Wow.
And so I got in the car and I took off, and it's on a Sunday morning, 5 a.m. And I'm racing, and there's apparently some EMT employees called in saying that there's 2 people racing on the road. Well, we weren't really racing. I was trying to get to the police station thinking, okay, the police station is closed on a Sunday. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die in front of a camera and he's going to get caught. And so
how smart were you? That was so smart. I mean, gosh, you're in trauma, you're trying to get away from this guy, and you have that thought. Wow.
Yeah, my mind is just racing, and I pull up into the police station, and he comes up, grabs a huge rock out of the planter area, and he throws it at my window, and it just chips it, but it doesn't break it. And all of a sudden I turn around and there's like 6 to 8 cops running out, and they just, they tackled him on the spot.
Oh my
And they took him in. And the sad thing was, I didn't even know, but as I went to walk into the truck to see what he had grabbed out of my truck, he had the two of the kids sitting in the back. So he had been stalking me all night, and the kids were in the back seat all night.
Ugh.
And
I cannot even believe that this is like out of the movies. Like, I'm listening, like in shock and horror listening to you. My God. Did you have the other 2 kids with you?
No, I didn't. What happened is the night before, I had helped a friend move. And so my mom was watching the kids. And remember, my mom doesn't know there's any abuse going on. She just thinks that I'm trying to leave this relationship because I'm unhappy.
So it's interesting you didn't tell anybody about the abuse.
Oh, no, I was really embarrassed. I felt
you were embarrassed. Yeah.
Yeah. I just felt like it was my fault, and it was something I was doing because he had made me believe that. He would tell me that.
Yeah, of course. Unbelievable.
And
wow.
And
okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the cops take him, and then obviously he goes to jail.
He goes to jail for 6 months. What ended up being, he was going to be like, it was going to be a few felonies, ended up being a misdemeanor for, I can't even remember exactly what they claimed it to be. Yeah. And then I decided to move on with my life. And it ended up marrying this guy that I was working with. And he was my best friend the whole time, telling me, he's the one giving me advice to help my marriage. And I end up marrying him.
Oh, wow.
And it worked out. He understood a lot of what I was going through. And once I explained that there was physical abuse, it all started making sense to him. And so he said, we should probably get away from the state because I have a bad feeling. He had this intuition, like something's wrong. Like there's something more to this.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, yes, he's abusive, but he wouldn't ever do anything to the kids. And he's just like, okay, we're married. I really have this feeling we got to move. And so we decided to move. And when we came up here to Washington, the kids they were playing. And then all of a sudden, when they started playing, they said something sexual. And I'm like, okay, how do they know that? I never exposed the kids to any kind of like sexual TV shows or anything like that. So I started questioning the kids and I'm like, has anything ever happened to you? And my daughter said I was sexually abused by my dad,
oh my God,
by my ex-husband. And then I was like, oh no, this is just crazy. I just can't stop things. It just keeps continuing. And so I called my mom and I talked to her and she just said, you know what, let me question is my niece. And my niece said, well, he sexually abused me too. And I was just, I didn't even know what to do at that point. I was so shook. I was just holding my girls and we took them in to go get seen by the doctor. And they started an exam and whatnot. And they tried to arrest him on it, but he fled. So he never got arrested for all the things that he did.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
We could go off on a tangent about that right now in our justice system. I'm not going to even go there because I have other clients that have told me similar stories to yours, and it blows my mind that these people are getting away scot-free or with a slap on the wrist. So anyway, I'm not even going to allow myself to go off on that tangent because I could truly go there. Okay. So you and your husband and your children are living now and continue on with your story. It's like such an incredible story, Suzy. Keep going. I can't get over your strength, I have to share with you. Because you're how old at this point? You're like in your 20s?
Yes, I was in my mid-20s at that point.
Mid-20s with 4 children.
And one on the way.
With your new husband now.
With my new husband, yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And he's a great guy. He goes to Barnes and Nobles and gets me like self-help books, and he's helping me through all of this and whatnot. And I mean, it was great, but I always felt like there was something off. Like no matter how many books I read, no matter how much work I did, I just felt off. And I wasn't expecting to go back to the person I was before. But I was like, what is missing here? I have a great husband. I have these awesome kids and I have this great life, but I just felt incomplete. And it wasn't until I started listening to the adult chair that it all started to make sense, that it was way beyond just this abusive relationship. It all like stem back to when I was a child.
Right. So tell us more about what you discovered. And can you fill us in too? Because you said you did all kinds of work. I like to hear what are some of the things that you tried. And I hear you say you read, I love your husband. I don't even know him. This guy's an angel, not husband number one, number two.
Number two, yeah.
Number two. What an angel. Like I'm listening to this man that I'm so, God, grateful that he followed his intuition and said, we need to get away. Let's move. Let's move far away. Because I don't trust your first husband. I think he would have come after you guys again. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. But gosh, so this second husband is buying you books, and it sounds like he's just so loving and generous and supporting you. And so you bought he bought you some books. You probably bought your own books and really started your self journey because you were feeling like something was off or incomplete. Tell us a little bit more about what you tried.
So a lot of the books that I picked up were ones that had not challenges, but I guess challenges. I would have you do a specific something for like 1 week. And then the next week they would have you do something else. And I understood that I was really hard on myself. And I knew that I needed to have just compassion for myself.
Right.
But it always would fall back, and I would start these lists and I would get halfway through the list, and then I would always just find myself lost again. And it was just a lot of searching. And then I came across through these podcasts, and what happened is I started listening to these murder podcasts, and I'm like, well, as much as time as I'm spending on these murder podcasts, I probably could be helping myself in another way. So then I started searching up self-help, and that's when I came across the adult chair.
Wow.
And I remember listening to the first episode, and I was just blown away. I was telling everybody about it. I was telling my husband, my in-laws. They probably got sick and tired of hearing me talk about it. But the funny thing, or not funny, but ironically, my father-in-law happened to have a heart attack right as I began listening to the adult chair. And as we sat in the room with him, he said, you know what? I've noticed something really different about you. You're a lot happier. You just can't stop smiling. And
wow.
I said, you know what? It's the adult chair. And he started questioning me. And he's like, what's the adult chair? And I'm like, I'm present. I'm present in the moment. I'm not thinking forward. I'm not trying to figure out what the next move is. I'm trying to enjoy now. And that's where I was lost, is I wasn't enjoying now.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm sitting here with tears. I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, I'm honored. I'm humbled. I'm blown away that this could have helped you in that way. So thank you.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Thank you. I mean, this has been great work. My kids know you by your name. And it's funny because I have a first grader, and I always read the emails we have back and forth with each other. And I was reading and I said, oh, I got invited to the podcast. And my little girl says, with Michelle Chalfant? And then and it was so funny because she knows you by your name. And it's so cute. It's helping them too, in the way that, they were with the older girls, and the older girls were going through a lot of struggles themselves with the sexual abuse and the physical abuse and whatnot. So the little girls got to see that. And with the adult chair, they started connecting things. Even though they're so young, they understood, oh, well, this person's hurting and they're hurting because of this reason. So not only has it helped me, but it's really helping everybody in our household.
Wow.
Which is really awesome.
Unbelievable. And how many now? Tell us about how many people are in this household of yours.
So now it's just my husband, my son, and the 3 youngest girls. So we have 6 girls total.
Oh my God. But you yourself have 8 children?
No, I have 7.
Oh, you have 7 children. Oh my God.
Yes. Yes.
Crazy.
Uh-huh. Right.
Well, I love hearing this about what you just shared about your children, because I get asked that question all the time. And people ask me, how do I teach this model to my kids? I want to teach them how to be healthy. And so many people are afraid. You're actually bringing up another point I want to talk to you about. But, and I always say, it's about modeling. Just be the best adult that you can be. And then other people start noticing. So that example you gave about, was it your father-in-law?
Right.
Said, you're smiling much more like, what's going on here? Like, why are you so different? That's how we teach other people, by example. Because when we sit down and try to teach something to other people, they don't listen as well as if we just show up in our best selves, in our adult chair, people notice. And part 2 to this is, again, when people ask me, how do I help my children? I want to make sure I'm not messing my kids up and all this. It's like we can change. I think we can really change anything by, again, when we become clear about the clearer we become who we are, the more we transform within ourselves, the more we help our children. So tell us, how are your older children doing, these older 4?
So the older girls, one of them had recently, she just had an episode where she was holding it in, and then finally it just exploded. And she was like, oh no, this is the end type deal.
Yeah.
And what happened is she ended up going into the hospital for 3 days. And she got help there. And she ended up, I gave her the information about the adult chair, and she started listening to that. And she's doing so much better. Like,
oh my God. Wow.
What used to be her blaming me for not being there when she was sexually abused, she no longer does that. She talks to me. She comes to me and she's like, Mom, I love you. I need you. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
And it's completely changed the way she views things. I mean, she has simple little things, which seem simple to the outside world. It's like holding a job and, having a healthy relationship. Those might seem simple to other people, but for her, it was a big thing just because emotionally she was all over the place. But now she's working, she's going to counseling, and her marriage is doing great. Yeah. And she's just wanting to be around us and hang out and talk, which that is awesome.
So great. I mean, honestly, what an incredible, I don't even know that the word strength is the right word, because I just am blown away by you. I can't believe your life journey. I mean, oh my God, Suzy. Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It definitely is a lot.
It's a
There's
lot.
a lot there.
Holy moly. And to think that the adult chair helped you even in some small way, I'm again, like, I have tears. I'm blown away. What an incredible life you have had. And I'm so happy that I could have been help in any way. That's why the podcast is there. Just free therapy, free help, because I really do want to help as many people as I can. So I'm so grateful. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about your story? I mean, good Lord, we could talk all day about this. Incredible.
Right. No, just what I've gotten out of this is, if you're in any kind of abusive relationship, don't ever feel like it's your fault. There's so many women out there that are in the same situation. And if you just speak up and you talk to somebody about it, like, don't feel like you're alone, because you're never alone.
Yeah.
And just continue like to look for the like positive influences in your life to just help you realize that what you have, the abuse that you are feeling or seeing, that it's not normal. That abuse
Right.
is it's not normal.
It's not normal. And I was listening to you very intently when you said the very first time that your husband, number one, he grabbed you in a certain way and you felt like it was no big deal. And you thought, oh, well, I shouldn't have said that anyway. We quickly,
Right.
Even though you were 14, that was so young, but still, we quickly almost turn off our intuition and our gut, and we turn it off or turn it down. So we miss those hits that tell us this is not okay. This is abuse. We just sort of turn that volume down. And then as the abuser continues to abuse, we believe them more and more and more. And I find that it's because so many of us have just lower self-esteems or lower self-worth when we go into these relationships. So I don't know. I don't know if you would agree or disagree, but that's what I seem to find in my own practice. So that when the abuser starts to talk to us in a certain way, we disregard our own internal cues and our own internal beliefs about ourselves because it's not that great anyway. So they chip away at us little by little by little by little and make our self-esteem even worse or our self-worth even worse.
Right.
So then when the abuse actually starts happening, the physical abuse, we feel like we might even deserve it. I mean, would you say that's an accurate statement to what happened with you?
That's exactly what happened. Is what am I doing wrong? What could I do differently? How could I change the situation? So I can fix it? It was never his fault. It was always my fault and my doing.
Yeah. And I would guess that that beautiful intuition that we all have in those gut reactions or feelings, the volume got turned down so low within you that by the time the abuse was happening, did you even have any more of the doubt that maybe it's him? Maybe it isn't, it just seems like you blamed yourself, correct?
Yeah, I did.
That's what I would think. Yep. That's exactly what happened. So I love how you just said that too. Anyone that's listening to this, it's not you. Nobody, I don't care what you've said or what you've done. I don't care what happened. No one deserves to be physically or emotionally abused ever, ever, ever. There's not one reason. There's no reason ever for someone to be physically touched in an inappropriate way or abused physically, punched, nothing, no, or emotionally. So again, tell someone. It's interesting you didn't tell anyone, and I find that to be a trend as well. It's embarrassing. People have shame around it. But it's not you. It wasn't even you.
Right.
And it gets flipped to that damn gaslighting. These abusers gaslight us, so then we start feeling like, well, maybe it is. I think it is me. I'm the one that's bad. So start with self-esteem work. I've got podcasts on self-esteem, but get yourself out of there. And if you can't get out, and you doubt that maybe it is you or it isn't you, you're confused, tell someone else. Tell 2 or 3 people. You need help.
Yeah.
I find that people, they don't know what their reality is. It's like, what's real? Is it something I did to deserve to be hit? Well, I must have deserved that, right? So we need to find out what our truth is. It's like, what is my truth? And if we don't know, go find someone that can help you find your truth and get a plan to get out. I don't care if it's physical or emotional. Make some changes and get out of there. It's not safe to be there. You have anything you want to add to that? I mean, I just feel like we lose ourselves when we're in these kinds of relationships.
No, you're right. I mean, if anything, start with the self-help work. Once you start doing that, you start building yourself up and you start loving yourself and accepting yourself and realizing that there's more to life than this abuse that you're getting. And I just feel like that is just so empowering because then you feel like you're capable of moving on and that you're worth so much more.
100%. Yes, I agree. I really agree. Wow. So good. So as far as the adult chair goes, what else are you doing? What other parts of the adult chair are you applying into your life? The present moment. You said that's, again, being a story buster, it's a game changer. You got to get out of the past to the future. What do I need to go through right now in this very moment? Stay there.
Oh boy. Yes.
Is there anything else that you want to share though that you really have found helpful?
Right now I'm working on just being present. That's my big thing is with all that abuse and whatnot, I just felt like I would turn things off so that I could minimize the pain that I was in. So for me, a big thing is trying to remember to stay present. Like when I'm doing dishes, what does it feel like for the water to run on my hands? What does it smell like when when I pour this soap onto the dishes? It's just little things like that. Because I did realize that I was holding back all these emotions and allowing to feel. And just, that's a big
huge.
one for me.
I don't mean to minimize that that's all you're doing, by the way. I hope I didn't sound like that because I was like,
oh, no.
You're so right, because being present is everything. And it does change.
Yeah.
Shoot, I just had a question. I lost it. I love when you said washing those dishes and feeling the soap on your hands. That's being in the moment, and we don't live there. Well, you do.
Right.
As humans in general. Yes. But the practice of presence and staying out of the future of the past, game changer. Absolute game changer.
Big time.
So you mentioned, though, you weren't feeling emotion. So are you feeling like over time this has gotten easier, better for you to allow the emotions to come up through you?
Yes, I've realized that I can feel emotion now, whereas before I would numb it so that I didn't feel the pain. But at the same time, I was numbing any good kind of emotion that was flowing through me or was trying to flow through me as well.
How did you numb out? Was it just something physical you were shutting down, or?
I just would move on to the next project. I would move on to the, next thing. It was when I really did turn that back on. It was an episode you have. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. It's one where you're guiding the listener through you go through down an elevator, and you're walking down a path, and you can see, I think it's yourself, or you can see somebody that it's like a higher being or somebody that you look up to.
I think it was the accessing your inner child meditation you're talking about. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, where you're walking down a path. And
yes.
Okay. Yes, that one.
That one.
Huge...
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
I get comments on that one, and people say all the time, like, whoa, I cried the whole time. Is that normal? Yes, very normal. Or just feeling lots of emotion. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I'll make
Holy
sure.
Smokes.
Yeah. I'm so glad to hear that. I had a question I was just going to ask you. So how did you know when you started feeling emotions? So if you did that meditation, you know that you were feeling emotion.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
That was a game changer for me. That I was bawling. It was right before school started for the kids. It was right before I dropped them off. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was just listening to another episode. and then I realized, I told the kids, hey, go sit up in your room for a little bit. Let me finish this episode. And all of a sudden I'm bawling, and it was the greatest feeling ever. It was so beautiful.
It's like a river that like pushes through all the dams, and it's like everything gets starting, starts to fall away. And then that stream of emotion, it's just an energy starts flowing through us. And once those dams are gone, it's like, then the emotion can start coming again.
Yes.
That is so cool. I'll definitely put that in the show notes. And I think we did push that through the podcast for some reason. It went through the podcast but it's also on my website or in YouTube or all those other places. But that's the accessing the inner child. Yeah. In fact, I believe that's in the little free bundle on my website. And if you want, I have journaling prompts that go along with that as well. It's right on my website.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Just to access even more feelings.
Yeah.
In case you didn't access enough.
I just had to sign up actually, I just had my birthday on the 30th.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. My husband actually signed me up for the adult chair membership.
Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, yes. Did you do the meditation that's in there this month?
I just downloaded it. He set me up an area. He set up a computer and everything. And then he sent me the link to the membership he signed me up for. So yeah, I'm just getting started with all of that. I
love it. I love this husband of yours. What a lovely man.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's definitely a blessing.
Love him. All right. Well, I'll put that in the show notes as well. So we've got membership, we've got accessing your child. So I'll put that all in the show notes for anybody that's interested. Suzy, you're a blessing for all of us. Thank you. Thank you
for your help too.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story and really discovering the power of presence and being such a beautiful example for your children. I mean, honestly. And yeah, we all just, again, huge thank you and such love. Big love to you, my dear. Thank you. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
It's great being on here.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Was that incredible? I'm telling you, her story, she moves me as a person, just feeling her energy. She's just lovely and she's honest and she's authentic. And how vulnerable is this woman? I was so impressed. And when I have people on the show, I always say, do you want me to change your name? And she said, no, this is my story and I own my story and I'm putting it out there. And I was like, again, I have tears even saying that right now. I was like, holy crap. Like, this is what we are all about here on the Adult Chair. And she's living right there in her adult. I'm so proud of this woman. And anyway, I hope that you enjoyed her show, or my show with her, the show. I sure did. So anyway, she mentioned a few things on the show at the end, which of course I did not even know that she was going to mention, but she did mention the membership group, and we are having a great time in there. So come join us at theadultchair.com/membership. And this month we're doing self-compassion. And I've heard such great feedback about that meditation in there and the podcast that's in there. So come join us. We'd love to have you in there. And of course, we're getting great interaction in that Facebook group as well. So it's a really beautiful community of, again, like-minded, really vulnerable people. So come on over. All right, you guys, have a wonderful rest of your week. And I will see you next week, seated firmly right here in the Adult Chair.